The first thing you notice about Dharavi is the noise. It's a constant, living thing. It's the sound of a million people packed into 1 square mile of Mumbai. It's the clang of metal on metal from 1,000 tiny workshops. It's the chatter of voices in a dozen different languages, all spilling out from homes built so close together that they seem to hold each other up. The air is thick with smells. The scent of spices from a cooking pot mixes with the sharp tang of curing leather. The sweet smell of baking bread is undercut by the damp, earthy odor of the monsoon-soaked ground. This is not a place of quiet contemplation. It is a place of relentless energy, a city within a city that never truly sleeps. To an outsider, it looks like pure chaos. A maze of narrow, winding lanes, barely wide enough for a person to walk through. Wires hang in tangled webs overhead, a chaotic net siphoning electricity to the homes below. Children dart through the alleyways, their laughter echoing off the corrugated tin walls. Women in brightly colored saris navigate the crowded paths, balancing baskets on their heads with an effortless grace. Every square inch of space is used, claimed, and lived in. There is no such thing as privacy in the way the outside world understands it. Your life is an open book, and so is your neighbor's. Your joys, your sorrows, your arguments, and your celebrations are all part of the public fabric of this dense, interwoven community. Daravi sits on prime real estate in the heart of one of the world's most expensive cities. It is a paradox, a place of extreme poverty located next to unimaginable wealth. From the rooftops of its makeshift homes, you can see the gleaming skyscrapers of Mumbai's financial district. They stand like silent, glass and steel giants, looking down on this sprawling slum. But Dharavi is not just a place of hardship. It is a testament to human resilience. It is a place where people have built lives, homes, and entire industries from practically nothing. It demonstrates a kind of resourcefulness that the planned, orderly world outside has often forgotten. This is a place where hope is not a luxury. It is a vital tool for survival. This is not a story of victims. It is a story of survivors, of innovators, and of people who refuse to be defined by their circumstances. To understand Dharavi is to understand a fundamental truth about humanity. People will always find a way to create, to connect, and to build a community, even in the most challenging conditions imaginable. They carve out a life with dignity and purpose against overwhelming odds. The energy here is not just the noise and the chaos. It is the powerful, thrumming pulse of a million lives being lived to their fullest. It is the roar of a community that, against all logic, not only survives, but thrives in its own unique and powerful way. Living in Daravi means constantly negotiating for space. Homes are tiny, often just a single room for an entire family. This one room serves as a bedroom, a kitchen, a living room, and sometimes even a workshop. Families sleep in shifts, their bodies fitting together like pieces of a puzzle. Personal space is a concept that simply does not exist. Children do their homework on the floor while their mother cooks a meal just a few feet away. The line between your home and your neighbor's home is often just a thin wall of brick or tin. Sounds, smells, and the dramas of daily life pass through these walls as if they were not there at all. It is a life lived in public, where every moment is shared. Sanitation is a daily battle. Public toilets are few and far between, serving hundreds, sometimes thousands, of people each. Long queues form before dawn. The facilities are often overflowing and poorly maintained, becoming breeding grounds for disease. Many residents have no choice but to use the open drains or the nearby Mithi River. This creates a dangerous cycle of contamination. The water that people use for washing and cleaning is often polluted. Sickness is a constant threat. Diseases like cholera, typhoid, and dysentery are common, especially among children. For the residents of Daravi, staying healthy is not just a matter of luck. It is a grueling, daily struggle against an environment that seems determined to make them sick. Then comes the monsoon. For 4 months of the year, the sky opens up and unleashes torrential rain. The narrow lanes of Daravi turn into rivers of murky, contaminated water. The slum's inadequate drainage system cannot cope with the deluge. Water floods into homes, destroying meager possessions and forcing families to huddle on raised platforms or beds. The risk of disease skyrockets as sewage mixes with the floodwaters. Electrocution becomes a real danger as live wires hang precariously close to the rising water levels. The monsoon season is a time of immense hardship, a yearly reminder of the fragility of life here. Yet people adapt. They build makeshift barriers, they help their neighbors, and they carry on with the stoicism that is both heartbreaking and inspiring. Despite these immense challenges, life goes on. A sense of normalcy is carved out of the chaos. Children still play games in the flooded alleyways, their laughter rising above the sound of the rain. Women still gather to talk and share news, finding moments of connection amid the struggle. The daily routines of cooking, cleaning, and working continue, adapted to the harsh realities of their environment. This is not a life of passive suffering. It is a life of active adaptation. The people of Dharavi are masters of improvisation, finding solutions to problems that would overwhelm most. Their survival is a testament to their strength, their resilience, and their unwavering determination to build a life for themselves, no matter the cost. Daravi is often called a slum, a word that brings to mind poverty and helplessness. But that word fails to capture the whole truth. This place is a powerhouse of industry. It is a buzzing informal economy that generates an estimated $1 billion in revenue every year. This is the great paradox of Dharavi. It is a place of immense hardship, yet it is also a place of incredible productivity. Tens of thousands of micro-enterprises are crammed into its narrow lanes. These are not big factories with fancy signs. They are small, family-run workshops operating out of single rooms, churning out goods that are sold across India and around the world. Step into any lane and you will find a hive of activity. In one corner, men are recycling plastic, sorting and melting it down to be sold back to manufacturers. In another, potters are shaping clay on spinning wheels, their hands moving with an ancient, practiced skill. Their creations will be sold in markets across Mumbai. Elsewhere, you will find leather tanneries, where workers treat and dye hides that will be turned into expensive bags and jackets. There are also garment factories, where rows of tailors sit hunched over sewing machines, stitching clothes for global brands. Food processing, printing, and metalwork are all happening here, side by side, in a chaotic but highly efficient system. This economy is built on recycling. Daravi is Mumbai's unofficial recycling hub. Every day, collectors fan out across the city, gathering plastic, paper, metal, and glass. They bring it all back to Daravi, where it is sorted, cleaned, and processed. It is a dirty, difficult, and often dangerous job, but it is a vital one. It is estimated that up to 80% of Mumbai's plastic waste is recycled here. These workers are environmentalists in practice, if not in name. They have created a highly effective system out of necessity, turning the city's rubbish into a source of income. This informal industry provides a livelihood for tens of thousands of people and demonstrates a level of resourcefulness that formal systems often lack. The products made in Daravi travel far beyond its borders. The beautifully crafted leather goods might end up in a boutique in Europe. The perfectly stitched garments might be sold in a department store in America. The recycled plastic pellets might be used to make new products for a multinational corporation. The people who buy these items have no idea they came from a one-room workshop in a Mumbai slum. They do not see the difficult conditions or the long hours of labor. They only see the finished product. This is the hidden engine of Daravi, an economic force that connects this small corner of Mumbai to the rest of the globalized world. The story of Daravi is not just about its economy or its hardships, it is about its people. The true wealth of this place lies in its powerful sense of community. Neighbors are not strangers, they are an extended family. People rely on each other for everything. If a family runs out of food, a neighbor will share their meal. If someone is sick, others will pool their money to help pay for medicine. This intricate social network is the safety net that catches people when they fall. In a place where formal government support is almost non-existent, this interdependence is not just a comfort, it is a crucial mechanism for survival. This spirit of cooperation is born from shared struggle. Everyone understands the challenges of living here because they all face them together. This shared experience fosters a deep sense of empathy and solidarity. Festivals are celebrated with a collective joy that spills out into the lanes. Religious differences, which can cause so much conflict in the outside world, often take a backseat to the demands of daily life. Mosques, temples, and churches stand side by side. People from different states, cultures, and castes live and work together, forging a unique, hybrid identity that is purely Dharavi. This social cohesion is the glue that holds the community together, making it far more than just a collection of makeshift houses. Ingenuity is woven into the fabric of daily life. Problems are not seen as dead ends, but as puzzles to be solved. If a home needs an extra room, a new level is built on top, using whatever materials are available. If electricity is needed, someone will figure out how to tap into a power line. These solutions may be informal and technically illegal, but they are a testament to the residents' creative problem-solving skills. They are engineers of necessity, architects of improvisation. They have built a functioning city from the ground up, with its own systems for water, power, and commerce. This is not a sign of lawlessness. It is a sign of resilience in the face of systemic neglect. This is why the talk of redevelopment is so fraught with danger. Well-meaning planners and developers look at Daravi and see a problem to be fixed. They see the poor sanitation, the overcrowding, and the informal structures. They want to tear it all down and replace it with modern high-rise apartment blocks. But they fail to see the intricate social and economic systems that they would be destroying. They risk replacing a vibrant, self-sufficient community with sterile buildings that would shatter the residents' livelihoods and social networks. The question for Daravi's future is not just how to improve living conditions, but how to do so without destroying the very spirit that makes it so remarkable. Thousands of miles away, another city tells a different but strangely familiar story of struggle and resilience. Detroit, Michigan, was once the symbol of American industrial might. It was the home of the automobile, a city that built the cars that powered a nation's dreams. Its name was synonymous with progress and prosperity. But today, Detroit is a city of sharp and painful contrasts. It is a tale of two cities existing in the same space. In the city center, a revival is underway. New restaurants, stadiums, and corporate headquarters gleam under the skyline, symbols of a new, polished Detroit. This is the city that is shown to visitors, a story of comeback and revitalization. But, drive just a few miles away from this glittering core, and you enter a different world. Here, the story is one of abandonment and decay. You see entire neighborhoods filled with derelict houses, their windows boarded up like vacant eyes. Factories that once employed thousands now stand as crumbling, silent monuments to a bygone era. The infrastructure is collapsing. Roads are riddled with potholes. Streetlights are dark, plunging entire blocks into blackness at night. This is the other Detroit, the one that is home to a majority of its residents, most of whom are African American. It is a place that feels forgotten by the progress happening just a short distance away. This decline has created a severe public health crisis. With the loss of jobs and population, the city's tax base eroded. Hospitals and clinics closed down, leaving vast areas as healthcare deserts. For many residents, the nearest doctor or emergency room is miles away. A journey made difficult by a failing public transport system. Preventable conditions become life-threatening. A child's asthma attack, a diabetic's need for insulin, or a simple infection can turn into a major crisis. The lack of access to basic healthcare is a form of systemic failure, a quiet violence enacted upon the city's most vulnerable populations. The people living in these neglected neighborhoods are not just facing a lack of services, they are fighting for their lives. The life expectancy in some of Detroit's poorest areas is significantly lower than in its wealthier suburbs. The gap can be as much as 10 or 15 years. This is not a natural phenomenon. It is the direct result of decades of racial inequality, economic disinvestment, and systemic neglect. Like the residents of Dharavi, the people of Detroit are living in the shadow of a wealthier, more powerful world that seems indifferent to their struggle. They are survivors in a city that is both failing them and, in some corners, being reborn without them. The health crisis in Detroit is compounded by another severe problem: the lack of access to healthy food. Many neighborhoods are food deserts, where the only places to buy food are corner shops or petrol stations. These stores primarily sell processed snacks, sugary drinks, and alcohol. Fresh fruits, vegetables, and lean meats are almost impossible to find. For families without a car, a trip to a proper supermarket can be an all-day ordeal, involving multiple bus transfers. This lack of access to nutritious food has devastating consequences. Rates of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease are alarmingly high, further straining a healthcare system that is already broken. This is not an accident of geography. It is a direct consequence of racial and economic injustice. For decades, Detroit's African American communities have faced systematic discrimination. Redlining policies prevented them from getting mortgages, trapping them in declining neighborhoods. White flight to the suburbs took wealth and resources out of the city, causing businesses, including supermarkets, to close down. The result is a landscape of inequality, where your postcode can determine your diet, your health, and ultimately, your lifespan. The daily struggle for survival in these parts of Detroit is a fight against a system that has been stacked against you from the very beginning. It is a fight for the basic human right to health and nutrition. Yet, where the system has failed, the people have stepped up. Detroit is home to a powerful and growing food justice movement. Residents have transformed thousands of vacant, derelict lots into thriving community gardens and urban farms. They are growing their own fresh, organic produce, not just to feed their families, but to rebuild their communities. These gardens are more than just a source of food. They are spaces of connection, education, and empowerment. Neighbors work side by side, sharing knowledge and building solidarity. They are reclaiming their land and their health, one plot at a time, proving that resilience can bloom in the most abandoned of places. This DIY spirit extends to healthcare as well. Grassroots organizations have emerged to fill the gaps left by the formal system. Community health workers, often volunteers from the neighborhood, go door to door, checking on elderly residents and helping people manage chronic conditions. Makeshift clinics offer basic health screenings and advice. These movements are born from necessity, driven by the belief that healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. In both Detroit and Dharavi, we see the same pattern. When official systems fail, people create their own. They build parallel structures of support and care, demonstrating a remarkable capacity for innovation and collective action in the face of systemic abandonment. In Nairobi, Kenya, lies Kibera, one of Africa's largest urban slums. Like Daravi, it is a place of dizzying density and constant motion. The landscape is a patchwork of rusted corrugated tin roofs, packed so tightly together that they form a single sprawling canopy. The paths below are narrow and muddy, winding through a maze of homes, shops, and schools. The air is filled with the sounds of life, the beat of music from a small radio, the sizzle of food cooking on a charcoal stove, the shouts of children playing football with a ball made of rags. Life here is a daily hustle, a relentless struggle for survival that is met with an equally relentless spirit of improvisation. The challenges are immense and familiar. Most residents live without basic services that many in the world take for granted. There is no formal system for running water, sanitation, or electricity. Water is bought from vendors at a high price, and its quality is often questionable. Toilets are scarce, leading to the use of flying toilets, plastic bags used for defecation and then thrown onto the rooftops or into drains. This creates a dire public health situation, with diseases like cholera and typhoid being a constant threat. Insecurity is high, and the ground beneath their homes is often unstable, especially during the rainy season when floods and mudslides are a real danger. Despite the overwhelming poverty, Kibera is a place of vibrant enterprise. The informal economy is the lifeblood of the community. Every resident seems to be a small-scale entrepreneur. Women sell vegetables or fried fish by the side of the path. Young men run mobile phone charging stations powered by car batteries. Others offer services as carpenters, tailors, or barbers from tiny shacks. There is an incredible resourcefulness on display everywhere you look. Nothing is wasted. Old tires are turned into sandals. Plastic bags are woven into mats. People find value in things that the outside world has thrown away, turning trash into treasure and survival into an art form. Here too, community is everything. People have created their own social structures to navigate the hardships. Youth groups organize to clean up the neighborhood or provide security. Women form savings circles, pooling their money to support each other's small businesses. Churches and mosques are not just places of worship, they are vital community centers, providing education, food, and a sense of belonging. In Kibera, as in Dharavi and Detroit, we see the same profound truth. The human spirit is not easily crushed. In the absence of state support, people create their own systems of governance, economy, and care. They build hope in the cracks of a broken world. Dharavi, Detroit, Kibera. 3 different cities on 3 different continents, yet they tell a similar story. They are tales of systemic failure, of governments and economies that have left millions behind. They are landscapes of hardship, where the daily struggle for clean water, safe housing, and basic healthcare is a reality. They expose the sharp inequalities that define our modern world, where your chances in life are so often determined by the place you were born. To look at these places is to see the raw, unfiltered truth of poverty and neglect. It is easy to see only the suffering, to view the residents as victims in need of saving. But to stop there is to miss the more important story. These are not just places of despair, they are monuments to human resilience. In the narrow lanes of Daravi, a billion-dollar economy thrives on ingenuity. On the abandoned lots of Detroit, community gardens bloom, cultivated by residents reclaiming their health and their land. In the muddy paths of Kibera, a vibrant social fabric is woven from threads of mutual support and shared hope. In each of these communities, we find an unbreakable spirit, a refusal to be defined by hardship. We see people who are not waiting to be rescued, but are actively creating their own solutions, building their own economies, and supporting each other with a fierce sense of solidarity. This resilience challenges our conventional ideas of progress. The world often looks at places like Daravi and Kibera and sees only problems that need to be fixed with bulldozers and redevelopment plans. It looks at Detroit's neglected neighborhoods and sees blight to be cleared for a new wave of gentrification. But what do we risk losing when we try to impose solutions from the outside? We risk destroying the very things that make these communities work: the intricate social networks, the community-driven economies, and the powerful sense of identity and belonging that have been forged in the crucible of hardship. The real question we must ask is not simply how to eradicate poverty, but how to do so with dignity and respect for the people who live within it. True progress cannot be about erasing communities and replacing them with something sterile and new. It must be about empowering people, supporting their own innovations, and building upon the incredible resilience they already possess. If we only focus on fixing the problems, we may destroy the brilliant, powerful, and deeply human solutions that have already been created. The ingenuity found in these struggling cities is not a problem to be solved. It is a lesson to be learned. It is a resource that our polished, orderly world cannot afford to lose.